So one of the advantages of the military system over the civilian system is you get appointed a military defense counsel, right? In the civilian world, you have to be indigent, right? You can't afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. In the military, it's a right. You get a military defense counsel. And so as a civilian defense counsel, that is one of the greatest assets that I have when I go forward representing a client. So how do we maximize that defense counsel's capabilities, right? And all of us, having been trial defense counsel before, know what skills we bring to the table as military defense counsel. I would say, from my perspective, the greatest asset of a TDS counsel is knowing the local command, knowing the local rules and regulations, knowing the local level politics, that we can tap into that and use them as a great resource to help us in the investigation phase of trial. Additionally, TDS has some very strong basic skills, core skills, and getting them to do some basic interviewing, get them to involved in basic case preparation. That allows us to focus on the more nuanced and more in-depth analysis that's necessary for some of these complex defense cases.
Yeah, and the government has the advantages to assign as many trial counsel or prosecutors to a case that they want. In TDS, you get one, maybe two if you're lucky. Here, you start with 4 attorneys with our firm. So we're able to maximize that TDS counsel's contribution to an already established team.
Right, we become a team of teams in addition to what the government brings to the table. Because let's face it, the defense is facing, in like a sexual assault case, for instance, a special victim prosecutor, a senior trial counsel, a trial counsel, an assistant trial counsel, a civilian advisor, a special victim counsel, and God knows what litany of experts that they bring to the table, from strangulation to rape trauma to counterintuitive behaviors. They've got a long line of people who are advising them. You need to have, a client needs to have that same type of deep bench in representing them when they're facing those type of allegations.
Your military defense counsel can kind of serve as your boots on the ground soldier. They can give you insight into the characteristics of the prosecutor, the local command, the advising attorneys, the commanding general, or the convening authority. So they kind of have their finger on the pulse of the environment in which you're going to be working in and trying the case. So for that reason, the military defense counsel can give you a lot of benefit.
Right. I think it's important from a civilian defense counsel perspective that you maximize your TDS or your military defense counsel's capabilities. I know some civilian defense counsel who are colleagues of mine who cut them out. It's like they don't do anything. They're a potted plant at the trial. They're a potted plant during the pretrial preparation, and they just don't do anything. On the other hand, I know some civilian counsel who don't do a doggone thing until trial. That TDS counsel is doing the motions, they're doing the interaction with the command, they're doing everything until trial comes, and then in swoops the civilian defense counsel and puts on the show. And those are the two extremes that you have with military defense counsel. What you get with us is somebody who maximizes and utilizes the assets of TDS. Both the defense counsel and their resources, which include paralegals, administrative support,
investigators,
defense investigators, and defense experts that exist out there.